hello again, everyone. So we'll have our second expert talks about how we build resilient cities through emerging technologies.
When we live in a city, we spend many years and we are surrounded by very large construction projects, and we don't ask questions as citizens. No, we have like very few questions, we have very few information, we are kind of blind at the evolution of these projects, and they last for years and cost millions, no? And we have, for example, this redevelopment plan of the Battersea Power Station in London, that it's a 12 years project, 8 billion investment. This means 12 years. 12 years means that if you got a child now, it will go to almost secondary school when the job finish. So you will get a lot of noise around your home. You will get a lot of vibrations. You will get a lot of traffic around, and we know very little as citizens. No, that's interesting. That's another one, no? The people that lives here in Barcelona and lives around Las Glorias, no? They are suffering from this construction project for quite a bit of time, and they are exposed to vibrations, they are exposed to the construction activity, and as citizens we know nothing. No, there are more projects, no? Lima Metro, no? Huge construction project building the new metro line in Lima. It will last for several years. No, it says 5. I think it will be more. And what do we know? Nothing. No. Then Brooklyn Bridge. No. Why they are rebuilding the bridge? Why they need to spend 3 years in rebuilding the bridge? Is there a problem? Do we know that? And Grand Paris. No, the very large infrastructure project in Paris, one of the largest construction projects in the world nowadays. And it will last for 15 years and means a complete redevelopment of the mobility in the city. No, it's like reshaping the city. No, but as citizens, we know nothing about the impact of this huge project in infrastructures, in the historic buildings, in our daily life. No, and besides all of that, no, we in the next 5 years, no, climate change will create. Will threaten trillions of dollars in value of assets. 250 billions they will be kind of damaged by hurricanes, by tornadoes, by lightning, by many other seismic events, etc. And this is a reality that is there. But what are cities doing? What are governments doing to do that? What happened in Venice? No, because I'm sure that there were buildings that they were affected, and the ones that they were not visibly affected, what happened to them? No, so there are a lot of questions open and very few information. The overall challenge is that there's no ownership of the infrastructures. In mining is very different, for example, because there's an owner of a mine, and they can be accountable for that. But when you look at cities in general, who do you go and ask? No, where do you go and ask questions? No, so that's a lack of control. And let's say the large infrastructure funds, the large pension funds, actuaries, reinsurance companies, governments, they are starting to be aware of the impact of climate change, but also very large infrastructure project reshaping the cities today. And they start to be concerned on the risks involved in the construction and operation of projects, because long time ago, like investing in infrastructure was a safe investment, but with climate change, this is probably not anymore a good place to put your money. So they are asking for a transparency in data, and they are asking like the industry, the different stakeholders to de-risk their investments, which is very critical for that, and this will trigger a complete change in the way infrastructures are managed. But there's a big challenge here, which is the complexity of the infrastructure value chain. Because when you look at the typical construction project, or like a typical different phases of a construction project, you have a starting phase with the asset, with the site characterization, when you go to the project planning, and you involve very different stakeholders. And the big challenge is that there's a change of ownership at one point, and there's no circular control of the infrastructure. Only a few infrastructure funds, as far as I know, they are getting the new infrastructures in their balance sheet. So they care about the full life cycle management of the infrastructures, but this is not the case for everywhere. So there's a lack of ownership of the infrastructure, and hence on the data related to the construction project and the operational project of the processes of the infrastructures. Then, what are the challenges in general? No, the first challenge is the fragmentation of the value chain. So the value chains are very much fragmented, and means that if we provide technology to instrument a breach, this technology will be used mainly only during the construction phase or the servicing phase, and will not be open to anyone else. So how, as citizens, we get access to this information? So is it relevant for our life? Because a 12 years project might impact my home, which is nearby. No? So that's one open question that we have. No? There are many malls. There's no global regulation, no, for transparency. No, only recently very large pension funds or infrastructure funds, they are making a call for transparency in the data related to critical infrastructures, especially in the mining space, but they are also looking at the infrastructure space. No. So that's another call. Some governments, like Singapore, for example, they are aware of that, and they involve citizens, and they have plans for, let's say, full instrumentation of the new infrastructures, and to get at least access to all of this information. No? Then it's the high cost of the long-term monitoring of the infrastructure, which is also a critical point. And when you think about that, and when you think at the value chain of a very large construction project with a change of ownership, with a lot of different stakeholders very far from the owner of the asset, no, it could be like the engineering companies, the construction companies. No, at the end of the day, this is a line in a budget that nobody cares. Then how do we make this information flow through all this value chain and make this information accessible to the, let's say, citizens, but also all the different stakeholders around a construction or infrastructure project, no? And then, of course, the complexity of monitoring all these infrastructures along the cities, no? The fragmented ownership, etc. No? So that are the big challenges that we see, no? That involve different stakeholders, no? Then what are the three key requirements to address that? No? The first one is the information flowing. So we need to deploy the let's say, suprastructure related to the monitoring of the infrastructures with the capability to collect, transport, and share data in a proper way, no? Through all the value chain, involving all the different stakeholders. Then when all of this is in place, the second angle is sharing the risks. So if among all the different stakeholders, there's a risk-sharing policy with the right information, then the alignment of the objectives will be much clearer, and then everybody will be happier, and probably the different companies will take much higher risks, but with a better reward. No? So that's another point. And the third one is the citizen engagement, no? And the people that is living around these infrastructures, no, they may want to know the state of the evolution. We check at the weather, we check at the traffic. Why cannot we check at the state of a construction project that will impact my life for 12 years? So there should be some kind of public websites, no, that they don't need to disclose if there's something going to collapse or not immediately. No, we don't want to create panic. But I think that a relevant level of information, not to assess whether the thing is going on well or not, if there are some challenges, if it's going to be delayed, no, should be good enough for most of the people to understand what's going on in the city, and will be very kind of a good point not to generate acceptance of the new infrastructure, because if I'm living in Las Glorias in Barcelona, I need 7 years of traffic congestion, of dust, of noise, of vibrations all the time, the minimum thing I want to know is that everything is going on well and it not will be delayed for 3 years more. No, and I will not lose my house because they have a crack in one of my walls. So that's something that I want to know as citizens. No, so then today there's technology. No, the technology is in place. Wall sensing has been helping a lot of infrastructure companies, a lot of construction companies, mining companies as well to solve these issues. We are working, for example, with Grand Paris. Grand Paris, they are aware of the need to share all this information to their citizens and the authorities of the project. No, they are communicating from time to time this information, and we provide them the sensing and communication infrastructure related to the state, the geotechnical state of the infrastructure. No. So that's the technology is down there. No, you can ask our team to show what we do and to do a demo and explain you our success stories in many construction projects around the world. And not only that, but also we are aware of the need of involving all the different stakeholders. So we have frequent business development activities where we evangelize on the value of instrumenting infrastructures to assess their state in real time, so we can support on the vulnerability assessment of all of them. No? And then we work with engineering companies, we work with owners of infrastructure, with service providers, and with a focus on providing the best information to citizens that should be in the center of the equation, especially for urban development projects. No? We also look at the workforce, no? And because 12 years projects involve maybe 2,000, 3,000 workers that they will be actively working on site. So we also take care of them and we provide them tools not to improve their safety, to improve their performance during the work activities. No? So I think that the overall issue here is that we are blind at infrastructures today as citizens. We have been blind for many, many years, but there's an underlying technology that is ready for that. Regulation will get into place and climate change will put a lot of pressure and in the large infrastructure and pension funds that are financing all these deployments to go for a full transparent wall. No? So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ignasi. Do we have any questions from the audience for Ignasi? So Ignasi, this is quite interesting because before, as a citizen, we are expected to just accept that if there's a construction and you just think that anyway in 5 years and 10 years this will help me ease the traffic. I just maybe one question since you were talking about the different stakeholders. So I'm sorry. So who among the stakeholders do you think would be the best? Who should be responsible for it to disseminate information about the project?
Well, the owner at the end of the day, no? But the owners sometimes they are pure financial institutions or governments that they are very complex, so there's no single person not to address. No, then I think that the risk-sharing policies will help a lot not to kind of ease all this information flowing, because if one of the KPIs that a construction company that is involved in a consortium of building a project is how transparent are with the challenges you face, everybody will understand that they will need probably to renegotiate a contract and get more money to solve one issue, but they will be frontal in the challenge and everybody will be aligned and citizens should be kind of well informed. Then I would say that in principle the owners, but in practice all the stakeholders.